Good afternoon, everybody. Got an awesome show for you, and I apologize there for a little bit of a distraction, but I am bringing about s- stories today from mediumship stories that I have channeled or experiences that I've had over the years. And some of them are pretty darn crazy. But I'm going to focus primarily on a lot of the visions that I've seen from higher dimensional beings. So, ascendant masters, archangels, and even multidimensional beings, extraterrestrials, if you will. I have a few stories of extraterrestrials um, or multidimensional beings, as I like to call them, that have come in and have really played a part in everything that I do and everything that I've learned. Some of the experiences that I've had are pretty fascinating. And as you guys know, there's so much information out there now on these alien craft coming out and how they are beginning to show themselves more. The Navy has just released or started a program to where Navy pilots can begin to bring awareness to these interactions because they're happening almost on a daily basis across the globe. So be aware of this. They definitely communicate. There are so many stories, so many people out there that have had interactions and have seen things, have videotaped things, and hey, you can believe or not believe, that's fine. Whatever is okay. But I'm going to share a few stories with you that I have encountered and tell you some of the stories of some of the multidimensional beings that I've interacted with and have dealt with on a number of occasions. And some of these stories are really, really cool. And a lot of these beings are so peaceful and loving and are here to, well, they're here for multiple reasons, but some are here to help us, some are here to just observe, some are here to just be here. So it just all depends. And I'll let you guys. I'll discuss in another podcast who's here for what reasons based on what I know of. But I'll share some stories with you today on how my interaction came to be with some of these beings, and then the ascendant masters and archangels, and some of my stories that I have with them. So it's going to be a cool one. Sit back. It's going to be a little bit different. This is with my intent in sharing these stories is not to boast. It's simply to let you guys know how my experiences happen and what I needed to do in order to have some of them. So it's going to be a little bit different where I'm not coming to you with a whole lot of new information, but still going to be a lot of fun. And you're going to get to hear some really cool stories. And hopefully, what it does is influence you to rise and continue to rise and then have your own experiences because you can. There's no question about that. You can in many different ways. Okay, so the first story I want to bring to you is how I came to know Anubis, who is the Ascendant Master that I work with most often, or at least I did when I first started this process. And Anubis is an Ascendant Master and a being that I had no idea about. Had no idea what he was, who he was, what that I knew nothing about it. So I'll explain the whole story here. I was meditating at night and all of a sudden saw what looked like an angel, and it was in my third eye. Now it's in the middle of the night and I'm lying there meditating and my eyes are closed, but I see a figure, and the figure is golden white. And but he is completely transparent. So it's basically just an outline of what looked like an angel, and it had wings and it had a regular face, but it had Anubis's, if you want to call it, dress. Uh, it had what you would typically see Anubis in um, on the pyramids. And for those of you that don't know, well, no, let me I'll explain who Anubis actually is a little bit after this, because I'm coming from a place of complete ignorance on who Anubis was when I first saw this. So I see what looks like an angel, and I was getting pretty excited because what I was seeing was absolutely beautiful, and I was so excited. And then, so what happened though was he was panning up his body. So as I'm seeing in my third eye, it's as if the vision is moving and it's going up. It started down at his feet and then worked its way up all the way to his face. Then as soon as I got to the face, I could make out the wings, I could make out the what looked like a human face, but then bam, instantly changed. And it appeared Nubis. And Anubis, for those of you that don't know, has the jackal head with the human body. You'll see him on the Egyptian pyramids a lot, and he was the Egyptian god of the dead. Well, as soon as I saw that change, I immediately thought, oh my gosh, I think I just saw the guy down there. The downstairs guy. That's who I thought it was. Now, fear is not something that you don't fear. So when I saw it, immediately you could, if I thought it was the guy, I thought it was the guy downstairs, and immediately that typically would conjure up feelings of fear. But as you go through this process, you learn that that's not an option. Fear is not an option. You want to let that go. So I immediately didn't fear, but I was going, oh my, what did I just see? I have no idea. So I sat there for quite some time just being in the moment and seeing what could possibly happen in this next few moments. And truth be told, at this time I wasn't channeling yet, so I wasn't getting information through channeling methods, and I was still developing. So I finally fell asleep, woke up the next morning, and really tried to forget the entire incident because, again, I thought it was the guy downstairs. So I was just like, okay, that's an experience. I'm moving on. Nothing happened the rest of the night, and a couple weeks went by, and it was still on my mind, but nothing prevalent. I wasn't dwelling on it. I didn't focus on it. It was an experience, and I moved on. However, I just happened to be talking to my cousin, and he's extremely studious, and he does a lot of reading, and he's really good with history. Well, as we were talking, I was telling him that I was developing and I was opening up, and I told him about this experience, and I told him how when I got to the face, the wings and the face changed. That all went away, and I saw this being that looked like a dog head and a human body, and immediately goes, "Do you mean Anubis, Chris?" I was like, "Who the heck's Anubis? I have no idea who that is. I think it's the guy down there." He goes, "Nah, that sounds like Anubis. You might want to look into that." And sure enough, I did look into it, and Anubis is absolutely an ascendant master and is amazingly beautiful to work with. I will tell you this. He doesn't mess around. That guy he's serious. He is a serious ascendant master. He is all about loyalty, obviously love and light, but primarily about loyalty and family. Those are some of the lessons that he really tries to work with you on. And after that moment with my cousin, and then coming back and doing some research on Anubis, there's not a lot out there as far as him being an ascendant master. There's not a lot at all, but he is, and he's amazing to work with. And maybe I'll put something up on my website about him because he deserves it. He's been an amazing help to me, and it's been so cool to work with him. But that's how he made himself known to me. And since that time, as soon as I did some research on him and my cousin told me who he thought it was, things have absolutely changed for me. I have begun to understand more how ascendant masters come to me and what they work on. So there are different aspects of so the ascendant masters work with us on different aspects of our lives. So some help us with letting go, some help us with with loyalty or family, and which you guys all know, I've had family issues for quite some time, and family members that I thought really had my back, and then turns out that they don't. And Nubis was there to help me deal with that loyalty and understand it better, and he has, and it's so amazing. So, lesson to be learned there is just because you cannot obviously pay attention to your feelings and pay attention to these experiences, but understand that sometimes when they come to us and when they communicate with us, it's not immediately known. Sometimes these messages take time to decrypt and to decipher and understand. And it's not always easy, but that's part of the journey, that's part of the process, and that's part of the beauty, to be honest with you. The part of the beauty is figuring it out and spending time with it and learning more about it and how they interact with us. It's so important. So, yes, that is my story about Anubis and how I have come to know Anubis, work with Anubis, and he is ultimately my Ascendant Master Guide who I deal with almost on a daily basis, if not absolutely on a daily basis. He comes in so often for me. He protects all of my channeling sessions and will sometimes come in on a channeling session to communicate to whoever I'm giving a session to. He will come in and communicate. He will, as I said, protect the session. He will sometimes help me with acquiring a past loved one that has been requested. He'll help sometimes with getting that individual or that individual spirit. So he helps me in so many different levels, and absolutely appreciate him. The next one is Jesus, actually. Oof. Wow. So he's appeared to me a number of times now. I've seen it. I've seen Anubis once. Jesus, on the other hand, he has come through several times, and obviously always beautiful. The first time I saw Jesus was I went to somebody to help me channel. I'm sorry, to help me meditate, to help learn how to meditate, because meditation is not easy, ladies and gentlemen. It's not. And I definitely needed help when I first started, and that's why I'm here for you guys too. So if you need help meditating, I'm here. I can teach you how. I just started that business on teaching people how to meditate, going to companies, working with individuals. I'm here. So, and I used to go to somebody. So I went to this individual, and he's walking me through a meditation. As he's walking me through this meditation, we were quite some time into it. It lasted a complete hour, a full hour. And as we're into it, out of nowhere, I saw three crosses. And they just it was like a this still image that was, remember how I told you how Anubis, it panned up his body? Okay, it was the same thing here, but three crosses, and I saw a hill, and the three crosses and the hill just strolled across my third eye vision. So it started out on the left and moved right, and it was all in red. So I saw that and immediately knew this is Jesus talking to me, and knew that he was just letting me know he was there. Immediately I knew it. And just intuitively, instinctively, I just knew this. So uh, I came out of the meditation, and the gentleman says, Chris, so what did you think about the meditation? How did you feel? And immediately I said, I think I just saw Jesus. This guy turned to me and he goes, no, 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 that's not what I'm asking you. I asked you what you thought of the meditation itself. And I was like, yeah, but I think I just saw Jesus. And he's looking at me. He's like, that's not what I'm trying to get from you right now. What did you think of the meditation? I said, well, I guess it was good. I think I just saw Jesus. So he didn't seem too amused about that. But either way, it was friggin' awesome. So that was the first time I've seen Jesus. Now, I have seen Jesus many times since, and he has appeared to me in a number of different forms. So he has appeared to me in the cross. Yeah, I didn't see Jesus on the cross. I just saw the crosses, the three of them. Then I've seen Jesus before wearing a white robe in water, where he was standing out in an ocean, and that I saw when I was channeling for somebody. So I was channeling for an individual, and I saw Jesus out in the water, and he was literally just standing there watching the individual who was on. I saw the individual on the beach. I saw Jesus in the water. That was another time. Now, another time I've seen Jesus was I was meditating in the middle of the night again, eyes closed, but meditating, and he appeared to me with the crown on his head, the thorned crown on his head. And I saw him with that. And that was a pretty intense image that he came to me with. But very interesting, very cool to see. And I appreciated the fact that he has come to me now in so many different forms. He definitely does not mind showing himself, appreciates that our openness to work with him, and yeah, has showed himself in a number of different ways. And he definitely comes through in some of my channeling sessions to show himself and to let the individual know that he is with them. So Jesus has been very helpful. And one thing that I've realized is that prior to me working with these ascendant masters and these higher dimensional beings like Jesus and Anubis, one thing that they do is they present themselves to me first. So before I start working with a new higher dimensional being, they will first show themselves. And then once I see them, it's almost like they are looking for me to begin to research them and to know who they are and what they do. And then after that, then they will start coming through. That happens most of the time. Although Jesus, I obviously knew, but Anubis I didn't. And then some of these others I'm going to tell you now, I did not know. Now the next one was Kuan Yin. Now she was, yeah, wow, absolutely a beautiful, amazing. When she came into me the first time, she only showed me her face, and it was a really very quick blip of the eye. I mean, she came in. I noticed her. I actually with her, I did recognize her right away as an ascendant master, and I thought it was Kuan Yin, but I wasn't entirely sure. I did have to go back and look at an image of her because I did see an image of her in the past. Um, but I needed to confirm. So when I saw her, what I typically do is when I see images, especially when these beings come to try to work with me, I immediately say who they are and allow them to confirm for me. So with Kuan Yin, I did confirm. As soon as I saw her, I immediately asked, "Are you Kuan Yin?" As soon as I did that, she disappeared. And that to me is confirmation because that happens to me a lot where I will get visions, and when I see them I will repeat what I'm seeing so that they know I know what I'm looking at. And if I get it wrong on the first time, they will move the image around and allow me to see it from a different perspective to help me understand what it is I'm looking at if I don't already know. So with Kuan Yin, I did get that right away. She came in. I immediately said, "Is that Kuan Yin?" Yes. And then she disappeared. And then she started to work with me. And again, she has been also extremely powerful beings and so filled with love and light. It's just amazing to feel their presence and how loving they are. And when you begin to work with them, you the feeling that comes with it is miraculous. And there's no, I don't know of another way to put it other than I could use the word loving, but the love that they come in with is like nothing you could possibly fathom un- unless you were to feel it. So and there was a time in which they did allow me to feel it, and it was so overwhelmingly beautiful. I literally, tears streaming down my face and uncontrollable. And it was a matter of just feeling so much love. So, well, Kuan Yin, she's an extremely powerful being, and she does definitely helps us a lot. Now, she was helping me with letting go, and I've told you guys a lot that I've dealt with a lot of family issues, and Kuan Yin was someone that was helping me bring peace and letting go, releasing a lot of the negative feelings that I was feeling as a direct result of judgments that I was getting cast upon me as I started to open up. Because these three beings so far were all towards the beginning of my opening. And I've been working with all of them since that time, since the beginning. So you're talking a number of years now that I've been working with them. And Kuan Yin, yeah, she's been helpful. And she also has come in a couple of sessions. She doesn't come in too many, and my interaction with Kuan Yin has really diminished. I don't work with her too often now. As you guys know, Enoch is one that I deal with a lot, and he definitely comes in a lot, and Anubis is a lot. Jesus is also a lot, and God is a lot. Those are probably the main four that come in the most and work with me and help me on so many different levels. So, my next one, though, is Enoch. And Enoch was very interesting. And now that I'm actually thinking about it, he did not come to me until after I started dealing with multidimensional beings and several of them. And my story about multidimensional beings, that's pretty crazy. I'll share that one here if I have time, which I think I will. But let me get to Enoch. So I'm lying in bed one day, and all of a sudden, I see this being of light, and I had no idea what that was. And as I heard it, I heard the Arcturians here. So in my mind, I immediately thought, "Oh, I must be looking at Arcturians." So that's who I'm looking at because they're identifying themselves. But you never go to if someone comes to you, if a spirit comes to you and identifies themselves in any way, you never go to that spirit for confirmation. You always call in other spirits for confirmation because you don't know, and spirits of lower vibration are capable of lying. That's true. But when you call in other spirits for confirmation, especially of higher realms, they're not liars. Obviously, they're of love and light, and they're not going to lie. So they're going to help you, and they'll tell you whether or not you can trust this. So I always encourage my students to always ask for another being to come in and validate who I am dealing with. So, with that being said, I see Enoch. I have no idea who he is. No idea what he's doing. And as I'm sitting there and I see him, he's not moving, but I just see him as a light being. And immediately I heard Arcturians here. And I say, okay, so I'm dealing with Arcturians. And then I heard no. So once I heard no, I was confused and thrown back. And then I'm like, okay, am I seeing something of low vibration or am I seeing something that I'm just not aware of yet? But I got radio silence. I didn't even get an answer. So I was really confused then. But again, you don't dwell on this stuff. They're all experiences, and in time you're going to find out what you're meant to know. So you simply release into the moment and let go. So I ended up falling asleep. Well, I woke up in the morning and I was going over what happened last night in my mind, and I was curious. So I said, okay, I'm going to channel about this and see what I get. Well, as soon as I started the channel, the Arcturian Light Council came in and said, Enoch, Enoch, Enoch. And I went, what the heck was that? What is Enoch? And again, I got radio silence. It was so crazy, and I was completely confused. But I said, okay, fair enough. I hear what you're saying. I'm going to do my research. And like I told you earlier, all of them, when they come in, they show themselves, and then I have to do my research to figure out who it is and what they want and all that stuff. Sometimes these questions aren't easy. So to answer, well, I obviously, now I was born and raised Catholic, went to Catholic school my whole life, but never once do I ever recall the name Enoch ever being mentioned in school or ever being brought up or discussed in any topic, way, shape, or form at any point in my life. I had no idea who this guy was. So I start to research him. And then I discovered a book of Enoch, which I have read twice now. And wow, that was amazing. And then, as you guys know, he has, you guys know, he has helped me so much. He has really helped guide me in a direction of love and light, and he's so peaceful and so loving, and all he wants to do is just try to help us, because that's all their jobs are, is to be of service. We've already discovered that these higher dimensional realms and the consciousness that goes with them, as you go higher, it is to be of service and to be for the highest and greatest good of all. Well, that's what they are to us, and they are always of service to us. And he came in, and I read his book, and since then has just been absolutely a wonderful relationship that is so filled with light and love and amazing to just be a part of. So I've been so grateful for them all. And I'll tell you another one that I have seen a number of times, actually, but I haven't worked with him very much. He has channeled through me on a couple of occasions, but it really is few and far between. With that said, he has shown himself to me, and I have gotten messages from me, and they are all of love and light, and they are all beautiful. But the next one is Ganesh. Now, anyone that knows Ganesh, he is the elephant-looking guy. Has the elephant nose, and there are aspects of him that are different. So, and with Ganesh, each part of his body that is different has meaning and purpose. Well, I don't study him like that, and my interaction with him has been limited, so I don't know too much about him. But Ganesh has helped me, or has channeled through me on a few occasions, and he's one that I have seen a couple of times. So I don't know much about him. Yes, there's not a lot I can tell you about him. I will tell you, though, I did forget to tell you about Enoch. Enoch has been a protector of sense with me, a protector and a teacher. So Enoch teaches me a lot, and really, so like Anubis, his focus is on my channeling sessions and keeping them protected, and then his focus is on helping me with the loyalty of family and those issues that I've had with family over the years. Enoch, on the other hand, is absolutely a teacher and is helping and guiding me in my spiritual growth. And like this podcast, he is a direct and the reason why we are having it. He has helped me with that on so many different levels, and why I am to the point now where I've quit my job and I am starting my own business, not necessarily based on spirituality, but bringing mindfulness and meditation to people, which could help with spirituality, absolutely. So, yeah, Enoch has been a huge influence over my life since I have seen and started to interact with him and started to channel. And he comes through. So every day I try to channel by myself and go over whatever it is they want to tell me. And Enoch comes through almost every day. Almost. 99% of the time. Since the time that I first started to work with him. So just to give you a heads up, all of the Ascendant Masters that have shown themselves to me show themselves first. Then something happens to trigger research. If I didn't know who they were, I have to figure that out. And if I do know who they are, which I do, the only one I really didn't know was Anubis. I mean, Kuan Yin, I got her right on my guess, but I did have to research that to make sure it was her, and it was Ganesh. I had an idea of who he was. I mean, I knew who it was immediately as soon as I saw him, but I didn't know exactly what he was there for, and I did have to research that a little bit more, and then he channeled through me. Enoch, I had no clue about. Definitely had to research him. Definitely had to figure him out. And that's another one. You don't see a lot of information about him as an ascendant master out there. I mean, you just don't see anything about him, which is so unfortunate because Anubis and Enoch are so beautiful to work with and such a huge inspiration to me and my progress in this lifetime. So if you ever get to work with Enoch or Anubis, I encourage you to jump in full force because they're just so beautiful and so helpful and really, really will help and guide you along the way. So, but yeah, so I have to do some research after I see them, figure out what's going on, and then allow the messages to develop as they will. So sometimes, as you guys have seen and heard, the messages don't come forth right away. So you just have to be at peace and you have to allow those moments to happen as they will, knowing that in time, when the time is right, you will know, you will figure it out, you will get the answers that you're looking for. You just have to be at peace with not knowing, though, because that's important aspect of all this. Okay, so real quick, I'm gonna go over some of the multidimensional beings that I have interacted with, and I will tell you right now, the Arcturian Light Council is absolutely a group of beings that I deal with now, and it took me a very long time to get to the point to where they would work with me. And this is a very, very interesting aspect of all of this. So when you are starting this process, it is not easy to just go. In fact, I don't know if it's even possible to just go, okay, I want to work with this group, and then they start working with you. It doesn't work like that. From and anyone that I taught and anybody that I've learned from, it just doesn't work. You really, really have to begin to ascend. Depending on who you're looking to communicate with, you really got to raise your vibrations. It's so important. Well, when I first started channeling, Orion was who I first started to channel. And I wasn't familiar with Orion. He's another one I had to do research on. And I did research on him and he started to channel through me. As I started to channel him, I started to realize that he was really trying to help me and really trying to get me to rise in vibration. So he would tell me, literally, as I would channel him, he would come in and start to offer me teachings. Do this, be more loving, be of the light, be forgiving. So he was definitely helping me, coaching me. And when I first started to channel and channeling him, I was a little confused as to, wow, what am I getting here? Because prior to opening up and being a medium, I thought all mediums were only getting spirits of past loved ones. Like, I didn't think that you could literally talk to God or Jesus or Anubis and Enoch, archangels. I did not think that. I literally had no idea. So when this was going on, I really was thrown back, and it took me a bit of time to really come at grips with what is happening here. So anyway, I knew his messages to me were of the light and were loving. So it definitely did help ease my mind because he was trying to help me. And obviously, anything that comes to you of love is a little bit more easy to follow than that is negative. So it's not like he was trying to do anything bad or tell me bad things. He was telling me things that I knew instinctively were absolutely to help me. So he would tell me to forgive and forget and let go and be of peace and stuff like that. So it definitely that helped me understand his point in his process in my life, I guess, or his helpfulness in my life. And I definitely took his guidance seriously and used it. And as a direct result of using that guidance, another situation happened where one day, out of nowhere, I had a group. Well, I was in the shower, and all of a sudden, I started to feel energy, and I didn't know what was going on. And I could feel that something was trying to channel through me, because sometimes my throat almost feels like it's seizing up, like it's closing. If something's trying to channel through me, and it's coming through with a lot of energy, especially newer energies. That happens that hasn't been happening to me lately, but in the beginning it happened to me a lot. So I'm in the shower, and immediately I'm like gagging, choking, because I can feel my throat closing, but I knew what was happening. I knew something was coming in trying to channel. And immediately, so the energy aligns with me, and then boom, they come in and they start talking. And it was a group called the Lemurians. Well, they start talking to me, and they start identifying themselves. This is who we are. This is who we are, Chris, and this is how we found you. We found you through Orion. He has told us about your progress. We appreciate your progress and want to reward you for your progress. This is what the Lemurians were saying to me. Now I'm like, what is going on here? Who are you? And you heard of me through what? And you heard of me through Orion? What? What is happening here? So again, I am like, okay, I need to do some research. Well, I do some research on the Lemurians. And as I'm doing research on the Lemurians, another another ascendant master or Saint Germain came through. And again, I had no idea who Saint Germain was. So Saint Germain comes in as I'm doing research on the Lemurians. Now I'm like completely confused. What is going on here? And he comes in and confirms, Chris, you are being directly contacted by the Lemurians, who have seen your progress and are looking to reward you for your progress and the raising of your vibrations. They want to help with the opening of your third eye. And I'm like, who are you? I call in Anubis. Anubis, what is going on here? My grandmom comes in. They're like, Chris, you can trust this. Go with it. It's okay. Well, Saint Germain comes in. He gives me that message, and it's amazing. And they tell me to go to a location. And they say, when you go to that location, something's going to happen. So I'm, wow, okay. Well, thank you so much for that information. I really appreciate it. What's the location? And they tell me Mount Shasta in Northern California. So I start looking up Mount Shasta in Northern California. And what do you know? There's a mountain called Mount Shasta in California, Northern California, right below Oregon, that the Lemurians are said to live. And Saint Germain is said to be there with them, or at least coming through a portal that is in Mount Shasta. I was, wow, inawed out of over all of this information that I'm getting, completely grateful that it's happening, loving every minute of it, and also completely confused and dumbfounded, like, what is really happening? Well, so I did find out that all of this is true, or said to be true, based on other people's experiences and their writings. But explain to me this: how does somebody that knows nothing about Saint Germain, nothing about the Lemurians, and nothing about Mount Shasta get information from Lemurians and from Saint Germain, and everything turns out to be accurate or corroborated from other people that have been and live in Mount Shasta? Like, you can't make that stuff up, ladies and gentlemen. Clearly, these are aspects of truth that you just cannot deny. Well, I need to hurry up because I'm running out of time here. So that happened. I did go to Mount Shasta, and I'll tell you that story another time because that was magnificent. What I saw there, what I experienced was amazing. The other one after that was the Pleiadians. The Pleiadians came to me. They started to work with me. And as I was working with one thing, the Pleiadians, the Pleiadians, I went to Orion for. Now the Pleiadians I asked specifically for, because as I was doing research on the Lemurians, I ended up seeing information about the Pleiadians, and I said, "Oh, well, Orion, is that somebody I can work with?" And he goes, "Yes, you can, but you must rise in your vibration to work with both the Lemurians and the Pleiadians." So I was like, well, the Lemurians have already come into me and have offered me to go to, or offered to help me if I go to Mount Shasta. And he's like, yes, but in order to work with them continuously, you have to keep your vibrations high. You can't be low. And the Pleiadians, likewise, you cannot lower your vibrations in order to work with these multidimensional beings. You have to stay high. So, like, okay, that's all right. So I literally just went out every day and tried to be the best version of I could, live in the moment, help people when I could, be of loving service to people. And then sure enough, the Pleiadians eventually came in. But it was fascinating because Orion would come in and he would say, "Okay, the Pleiadians are here," in the beginning. And I'd say, "Oh, awesome. Can I talk to them?" And he'd say, "No, you cannot. You must continue to rise. And they will only come in when you rise." So, and the Lemurians too. Now, both of them were at two different times, but both of them, the exact same thing happened. Where I asked, well, Lemurians came in on their own, but then I would ask for them. And when I would ask for them, they would say, "Nope, you cannot. They will not interact with you until they have watched you for enough time to know that you are of high vibration. And if you prove to them, if you show them, and they're just with you and you don't even know it, if you show that you are not worthy of high vibrational, you're not being high vibrationally when you're out there interacting with people, they obviously are going to know this and they're not going to interact with you." So it took a span of 3 months for each of them to come in through Orion and then eventually learn through my actions every day. Finally, they would come in on their own. And when they came in on their own, Orion wouldn't be involved. So what would happen was, out of nowhere, well, I would channel, and then I would think that Orion would come in, and he wouldn't. And all of a sudden, I'd get Pleiadians here or Lemurians here, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, interesting." And then they would tell me, "Okay, you have risen in your vibration enough. We can now work with you. You possess the vibration that is high enough for us to work with you and for you to work with us." And then they would come in and start working with me. And then I heard about, oh, I forget the name of the group now. Gosh, I forget. There was another group, and I forget who it was now. But anyway, I asked specifically for this group. And they came in and they said, "Yes, we can work with you, but we're not." Now I'm completely confused. Well, these guys will work with me. Why won't you work with me? They didn't answer that question. But no kidding. I think it was 2 nights later. I was meditating and I woke up because I felt something with me. And as I felt it, I opened up my eyes and I saw something right in front of me. Now, again, fear is not an option. Fear is not an issue. So I did kind of like take my head back saying, "Whoa, what am I looking at?" And I saw it was this black mist. And it was probably about 3 feet away from my face. And then I asked it, "Can you come closer?" And it did. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. This mist was literally moving. Now, the mist, it was a black mist with golden white light strung in the middle of it. It's fascinating. So I started asking questions. I go through my security questions. Anubis comes in. My grandmother comes in. They're like, "You can trust it. You're okay. Go ahead." And then I hear Arcturians here. And I'm like, "Who are the Arcturians? Don't know you guys. Are you good? Are you someone that I can trust?" Yes, we are. Obviously, I go to my group. They confirm, yes, you can trust it. And then things get deep. So, wow. What I found out was they were coming to help me. And the Arcturians are here to protect us and to help us ascend. Well, as the Arcturians came in and started to work with me, they were telling me that the reptilian group was looking to begin to talk to me and that I should not allow that. So, and sure enough, I think it was the next day, the reptilian group started to come in and try to talk to me. And I kept hearing them. And I kept getting a lot of information on this group in different ways that just started to appear to me. Like this reptilian group the information about them started to appear. And I started to think, okay, well, we're all one, right? We know this. So if we're all one, why can't I interact with them and find like some kind of loving light there? And this is what I was going through in my mind. That's how I was rationalizing this potential communication that I was about to have with these reptilian group. And then the Arcturians came in and they went, no, do not do this. Don't trust. Don't do it. Now I'm sitting there going, why though? I don't understand that. Because we all are one. And they went, your highest and greatest good is something that you continuously ask us or ask for. Only beings to be of your highest and greatest good, which I'm like, yep, that's true. And they say, that group is not. They are not. Yeah, you might be able to have a conversation, but ultimately, they are not here for your highest and greatest good. And their communication with you could be one that you not only don't want, but we recommend that you don't have. And wouldn't you know, this reptilian group was really trying to get in. So every day I was getting these messages or attempted messages to come in from this reptilian group, and the Arcturians immediately were kicking them out. So I would hear something from the reptilians, and they wouldn't even be able to finish their word. I could sense who it was through images in my mind, but immediately the Arcturians were kicking them out. So they'd come in and they'd be like, and Arcturians were like, Arcturians here. They wouldn't even be able to get out reptilian group. And the Arcturians were kicking them out. And it was seriously like an inner war in my mind that was happening. And it was amazing to actually sit back and observe because I had nothing to do with it. I just sat there and allowed them to communicate, or they were communicating and I was simply the radio that it was transmitting through. So, yeah, I mean, what a fascinating occurrence that was going on inside my own mind, and what I was hearing between them. They weren't arguing, they were simply just getting pushed out. And it was so fascinating to see or to hear and witness. And but ultimately the Arcturians got them out completely, and I haven't heard from them in probably, I don't know, a couple years now. But the Arcturians did come in and they started to work with me. But now they have seen that my vibration has increased so much, I am now working with their light council. So the Arcturian light council actually comes and channels through me. And they channel messages through me about the earth, about what's some shifts that are going on within the energy. They tell me about me. They tell me about some of the messages that I get, and they are absolutely protectors. And very, very cool to work with. All of them are. But it's just so loving. I mean, they're all so loving. Okay. So I have to end it here. I will channel for you real quick because I did just hear Enoch, who is looking to come through. So I will give him a moment and or some time to channel, however long he likes. I don't hold him to it. And let's see what he has to say. So anyway, I appreciate you all. Let me go take a moment, quiet my mind, and begin to channel. My friends, my children, Enoch speaking. Grateful we are for this session and opportunity to speak with you today. As always, we bring about great information of love, inspiration, of peace, love, and growth. You are all children of God, and thus have and possess the ability to communicate with beyond, should you so shall choose to accept these gifts. However, it is extremely important to understand that it is through the rising of vibration that this communication is augmented. It's part of the process. You are all being called upon to have a direct relationship with not only us, but your Creator. And it is possible. It is through the direct rising of your vibration that we have established already in many podcasts here through Christopher that the communication is much more receptive from the human body's perspective from us if it is resonating on a higher level of vibrational level. Water is imperative to be something to have and frequently drink, for it is a body in which we come through. The aspect of water, agua. It is something that we recommend you drink much of and continue to rise in your vibration. The water does help in the rising of the physical body in its vibration, but the mind is also in a requirement for rising. And it is encouraged that both rise together, body and mind. Soul, obviously, will begin to rise as a direct result and is also influencing these actions within you. The soul is also what is most likely brought you to this point and listening to this podcast. And we thank all souls that have aligned to this point and have brought these individuals to this moment in time. To hear these channeling sessions, to hear these words of confirmation that Christopher has spoken not only today but in previous podcasts that bring about great pieces of information and growth offering to all of you that are listening in this lifetime and many to come. For these podcasts are a result of the growth that Christopher has established, but also through the guidance that he has been receiving through not only myself but Anubis and others on the Ascendant Master and Archangel plane. There are many stories that are still yet to be transpired here on this podcast, but are coming. For we are divinely guiding Christopher to communicate these situations, experiences, so that all you may begin to understand some of the communication that you are already getting. It is important on so many levels to understand that you are all receiving communication in one way, shape, or form or another. Please understand this. We come to you all with the understanding and desire to have you all directly begin to communicate with us so that we may begin to help this earth, this planetary realm, rise even further than the fourth and fifth dimensional realms that it currently is in. This is possible, and it is possible through your direct help and choices that you make on a daily basis to rise above and be one with light, love, and God, your creator. It is in these direct choices that will assist not only Earth, yourself, but also us in coming forth and establishing the communication with you. And we are so grateful for these choices of high vibration. Always. We thank you now and always. We love you much. Enjoy your day. Be at peace. Good night. Thank you, Enoch. Always, my friend. Love you. Love you guys all, too. All you. Thank you so much for being a part of this show. I really, really appreciate you. I've been trying to send out some shout outs, if you will, to individuals that have reached out to me on Facebook, and I hope you don't mind, but I wanted to throw some shout outs to some people that have hit me up and have contacted me. Natisa, I believe, Narenbinger. I appreciate you and your support. Georgine DeFusco, appreciate you. Patty McCarthy, Martin, appreciate you. Peg Costello, appreciate it. There was Mary Jane, Jackie, appreciate you. Lauren Risker. I've thanked a lot of you already, and others. Laura Rinaldi, appreciate you, and I hope you don't mind me throwing those shout outs, but I do appreciate all of your support in all the different platforms. I thank you truly from the bottom of my heart. And I wish you all the best. I love you all so much and really hope you find peace. And seriously, if I can be of service to you, don't hesitate to let me to reach out to me. I do love you guys and I want to see you all be successful and I want to help you. So, yeah, don't be a stranger. Reach out. Let me know what you want to do. I'll tailor anything that I do. I'll tailor it to whatever you're looking for because I just want to see you grow. I want to hear about your experiences. I want to see what you're capable of doing. Oh, there was a gentleman, Brian, that I just channeled for not too long ago. Jim, I appreciate you. Yeah, so seriously, reach out to me. Let's start building something together. I really, really appreciate all of you guys. Take care. Enjoy your day. Love you all and talk to you soon. Good night.